drivers, vaporizing birds, and even throwing airplanes off course. Is that really the best use of your taxpayer dollars? Well, radio talk show host Brian Sussman is also the author of Eco-Tyranny, and he joins us from San Francisco. Brian, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit, and there's your book right there. Let's talk a little bit about what they're doing at this plant. They've never done this before, but what they're going to do is they're going to have 347,000 giant mirrors the size of garage doors aiming at 3 different 45-story towers to heat up water to 1,000 degrees and create steam that would create energy. What could possibly go wrong with that?
Steve, I've been watching this project for years, and I've always thought maybe it was designed by some college engineering students who dropped acid and then came up with an idea for a science project. I mean, this is wild stuff. Yeah. And you're right. The California Department of Energy put together a 667-page report about this plant and said, yes, it essentially could barbecue birds, and the heat generated by this thing could actually create turbulence that could toss airplanes. But they said, now ready for this, Steve? They said, the benefits outweigh the risk. Now, this is green madness. It's everything I talk about in eco-tyranny. It defies the imagination.
Absolutely. The other thing is there is a worry that apparently with all that heat, it could attract a heat-seeking missile. Now, before we go any further, BrightSource, which is building this thing, here's their response. They say, we've gone to great lengths to identify all potential risks and to eliminate those risks. Now, let's talk a little bit about the amount of money this is costing us. And while people have been infuriated and disgusted with all the money wasted on Solyndra, this thing costs 3 times what it cost us for Solyndra, right?
Private equity put in $400 million, and then when they said, okay, that's enough, they looked for a sucker. They went to the Obama administration, and they were able to get from we, the taxpayer, $1.6 billion in a low-interest loan. And by the way, their chief lobbyist is Joe Biden's former chief of staff, and the guy who was the chairman of BrightSource ends up becoming Barack Obama's commerce secretary, the guy that had those automobile crashes in L.A. a couple of weeks ago and then mysteriously resigned. Right. There's so much green cronyism here, Steve, it's just unbelievable.
Well, the unbelievable thing is we're spending all this money on something that has the potential to be hazardous, and yet it's theoretical. It has never been done before, but now you're doing it out there in California. Congratulations, Brian.
Yeah. Well, we're moving into a brave new world, Steve, and it's everything I talk about in my book, Eco-Tyranny. And we have laws passed that demand that 33% of all of our energy in California comes from alternative sources, and that's why we have the highest energy prices in the country out here.
Well, there you go. Look out, birds.